The Republican Congressman Ted Budd joins us from the state of North Carolina, member of the House Freedom Caucus and the Financial Services Committee. And the reason Congressman Budd is on today is he has his own bill to limit big tech censorship. We just heard from Senator Cotton, you just probably heard there in a soundbite a moment ago. I know there's a companion bill in the Senate that he's involved with, Senator Hawley and Senator Rubio and others. Tell us about your bill on the House side.
Absolutely, and thanks for having me. This deals really with Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act of 1996, and it decides, are they platform or are they publisher? They've been given rights as a publisher or as a platform, but they're acting like a publisher. They're selecting what viewers can and can't see, and we really want them to update their user agreement, or else they lose those protections.
What type of an update would you be looking for? I mean, the reason that protection is in place, as far as I understand it, is to keep out or to keep off the platforms kind of indecent material of some sort, and Twitter or Facebook could decide what that is. Now, it's getting attention, as Edward just reported the last few days, because of this New York Post story, which conservatives like yourself have said, no, wait a second, that's not indecent, that's political censorship. So where is the line, or is there one? What would you like to see happen?
We can certainly update that, but what we're seeing is they're specifically targeting conservatives, and it's been unfair for too long. And we need to make sure that stories like this, that the American people need to know about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and the corruption with the Ukraine and perhaps China, need to come out. They can't censor this if they think it favors Democrats, and they've clearly been doing that. Look, we can come out with this. You want to make sure that it's fair for all involved, and it shouldn't be about politics, but if they truly are a platform and not a publisher, then they need to let all voices have a share.
Well, it is right now about politics, right, because of this story, the reason it's getting so much attention, and it's all Republicans on the Senate side of the bill. Is that the same in the House? I mean, is there any kind of bipartisan talk about this? I know this story is leaning in one direction, but any discussion with Democrats about this issue at all, or it's all one-sided?
Connell, when it comes to Section 230 of the CDA, you do see Republicans and Democrats in the House and the Senate wanting to have conversations on this. So I think ultimately it could be a bipartisan issue. That may need to be on November 4th or beyond, but right now it's fairly partisan. I mean, because they're suppressing conservative stories. And we just think that the American people need to know the truth about Joe Biden, but they need to know the truth about all candidates. We don't think that somebody that's technically a platform needs to pick and choose between candidates.
Was this bill inspired just by that story, or were you working on something like this, already?
Yeah, this has been brewing for about 2 years. We've really, been digging into the CDA Section 230, and we have these new technologies that weren't there in 1996 in the early days of the internet when this bill was written. Now they're using their platform ability to actually be publishers. So we have to be able to clarify this. And it really needs to start with what my bill does, and that is dealing with the user agreements, which are currently right now being used to silence conservative worldviews.
Final thing, Congressman, in a broader sense, the election is coming up, obviously, in a few weeks. What impact might that have on these big tech companies in terms of legislation next year, the next term, if the Republicans have more control? Do the tech companies need to be worried about antitrust and other issues? How do you see this all playing out over the next number of years, or at least in the next congressional term?
As of right now, I don't know if antitrust is really the issue. I think the issue really deals with CDA 230, and are they a publisher or are they a platform? And let's make sure they don't get the benefits of one while actually being the other, which is what they're doing. They want to have their cake and eat it too, and we need them to choose. And we need Americans to be able to see all stories and decide for themselves. Look, there's some, you can't yell fire in a theater. We agree on that. So there's going to have to be that type of thinking that's applied to this situation. But, right. We need a carrot and a stick approach. We need them to keep their Section 2 CDA 230 protections if they decide to indeed be a true platform and not a publisher that edits out what Americans can and can't see.
All right, we're going to follow this legislation both on, your bill and that Senate companion bill that I mentioned earlier. It's a really big issue for us. Congressman, thank you.